Let's talk about Typo Negative. As a mopey, depressed teenager, I was very much into Typo Negative, especially this album, World Coming Down. And I made it my mission as a quote-unquote functioning adult to get this album in my record collection. Trouble is, it was released in that late 90s era when albums just weren't released on vinyl. It came on a CD, and in fact the first track of the album, which traditionally in Typo Negative fashion was a joke track designed to misdirect the listener, the first track was the sound of a CD skipping, which, to make you believe that the CD copy you'd gotten was faulty. So for the vinyl release I've got here, they actually reworked that tune to the sound of a record skipping. Aren't they ingenious indeed? Like I said, it was released in a time when you just didn't get vinyl releases, and they were on Roadrunner Records, which, they put out vinyl releases, but they only put out vinyl releases of their more popular albums. So World Coming Down was robbed of this. It is by far the most underrated and underappreciated album in Typo Negative's discography, I think. And for years and years, the only way to get a vinyl copy of this album was to buy a very expensive box set called None More Negative, which was released after the death of frontman Peter Steele by Roadrunner Records, comprising all the albums that the band released on that label. This was a box set that was printed in very few numbers and went for thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars or euros or liras or whatever you've got. It was one of those white whales in people's collections that was so far off on the horizon. You could hijack Dave Geffen's yacht and set sail, and you'd run out of fuel several thousand nautical miles before you could even see the white whale. So when I heard my local record dealer tell me that they were reprinting up the Typo Negative box set, I was like a Swiss ski jumper. I'm there. I just stole a Robin Williams joke. Are you proud of me? So what actually ended up happening was I went out and bought the box set, the reprinted box set. Now I know people say, well, you should get the original. It's more prestigious. It's more fun. I really don't care. I mean, I love all the other albums that they've done, and the only one missing from this box set is the last record they did, which wasn't on this label, called Dead Again, and it's actually my least favorite. But as much as I love the other albums, the reason I got this box set was for this album, to be honest, because it is my favorite. It's one of my favorite albums of all time. I remember the first time I listened to some of this album. I can't remember if I got it on one of those magazine cover CDs. They had compilations of new music coming out. Either that, or I downloaded a song off of Kazaa or Napster or whatever. It was Everything Dies, the first single off this album. It was only the first 3 minutes of the song, and it is a 6 or 7 minute long song. And I remember listening to that little snippet and going, I have to get this album. It's dark, it's tuneful, it's melodic, it's heavy, and it's about being very, very miserable. So I have to get this. And so I went out and got the CD version as a young, impressionable, depressed teenager. And I remember lying down on I didn't even have a bed at the time, I just had a mattress, and lying down on the back, shitty headphones on, Discman, battery-powered Discman spinning, and just listening to the album from start to finish. And then it gets to Everything Dies, the track that I've only heard the first 3 minutes of, and I hear the full version of it. And around the 4 or 5 minute mark, this guitar solo comes in, and it is just so achingly beautiful, simple, but just achingly beautiful. I remember lying there with my eyes closed, and all of a sudden that guitar solo comes in, and I go, dear God, okay. And from that point on, it was cemented. Favorite, probably my top 3 favorite albums of all time. So I am very, very glad that I went out and spent, quite frankly, a lot of money on this box set, but not nearly as much as I would have had to spend to get the original box set, the original pressing of the box set. Holy God. So I'm very happy I got this. It turns out that sometime later, I'm not clear on exactly how much later, but sometime later they actually did release a standalone vinyl version of World Coming Down. Had I known that there was a single edition, like a single release of just World Coming Down, I might have just gotten that one. But hey, but as far as songs about being absolutely distraught and full of despair and wanting to die, then it's just second to none. It's one of the most dark and depressing albums ever created, and I love the shit out of it. And the vinyl is not too shabby itself. Look how pretty and green it is. So there you go. That's my silly little story about Typo Negative and World Coming Down, and see you later.